We'll do this the way we have been, which is give us a chance to update you on whatever information we have, and then we'll open it up for questions. Okay. There are some concerns among the faculty. I've been informed of a couple of those. So first, there still is some concern about testing. And yes, the testing center is closed. Maria has shared with you, shared with the department chairs at least, and the department chairs forwarded a whole bunch of resources for how to do assessments in this era when you don't have proctored testing centers available to you. We will also be sending that out via announce. So if somehow you didn't get it, you will get it via announce. So I understand those concerns, but I think, again, it's about health and safety, the health and safety of the students who would have to come to the campus for proctored tests, and the testing center folks who would then have to serve them. So all efforts are for online work. There are also concerns about Zoom and the security of Zoom. So I sent an email thread to Candy, the Faculty Senate. It was already sent to the administrators on April 1st, which was Tuesday. It's from Garrett Yoshimi at UHITS, who explains the extra security measures that are in place. And at the end of this, I'll ask Carl to jump in and reassure people about the security of Zoom. There are reports of being Zoom bombed, of some people having really terrible things interrupt their Zoom sessions. So I'll ask Carl in a second to jump in and give us an update on that. Not a whole lot has happened from a policy point of view. There's still ongoing conversations about the grade changes that hasn't been finalized yet. But I do want to talk to you a little bit about the announcement that went out about the 2 cases of COVID-19 infections at the university. So one was at UH Manoa and one was at UH Maui College. And just to underline why we ask folks to check in and check out when they come to campus, it really is for exactly those kinds of instances where we need to know if people have been on the campus and when were they on the campus and who might they have interacted with when they were here. So here's the protocol. If you are a supervisor or a department chair and you get a text message or you get an email or a Zoom meeting from an employee who says, oh, I've been tested for COVID-19 and I'm positive. If that is ever a communication that comes to you, your first question to ask the individual is, can you show me your documentation? So the person could take a picture of the doctor's note or a picture of the test results and send that to you as the supervisor, if it comes to you. If that message comes to you, then you contact me, because I need to let Erica know, Erica LaCroix, our vice president, know, so that all the wheels come into play. Once we get a message such as that, we have to message Dan Meisenzahl, who is the communications director for the university, so that he can craft the message. Now, by now, he's going to have a template, and he's going to be able to just change the names, well, no names, HIPAA, no names, but the name of the institution and the date at which this was done. What's going to happen then is we are going to be asked to track the contacts. The Department of Health is not going to follow up and find out who all the people were that this person may have talked to. They are swamped. So it's going to be up to us to do that, which is why we're asking people to check in and check out, so that we know exactly what date the employee may or may not have been on the campus, where they might have been, who they might have crossed paths with. And we need to coordinate all of this through the UH machinery, let's say. Okay, so that's just for you to know. Should you ever get that email from somebody that says, I've tested positive, that's what you do. Make sure you get documentation and then tell me. Okay, let's see. There is a request for you guys to turn off your computers and your printers if your printers are networked. We're trying to cut down on vectors access to our systems, and I'm sure Carl can talk more about that. There is also a procedure for channeling community requests that have come to us. They've come to health programs, they've come to culinary. Folks in the community who want to borrow equipment, use the kitchens to feed community groups. All requests for our facilities, all requests for our equipment should be channeled through HAIMA. This is an emergency kind of a situation, and there needs to be centralized understanding of where all the available assets are. So if we make a side deal with somebody, the state is not going to know that we have those assets. And when it comes down to it, and they're looking for, we need to corral all the ventilators, say, because I know that's an ongoing conversation. We need to corral them all for use at XYZ. If we've already made a side deal with somebody else, then that puts those assets out of reach to the state. So we've been asked by senior leadership to channel all requests through HAIMA. It's a web EOC for HAIMA. It's not that we're not going to cooperate and not going to help if we can. It's that the request has to come through the official channels so that people are coordinating the resources across the state. Okay, I think that's all I have from my side. Okay, let's go through admin. Vice Chancellors, Brian?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. 3 short ones, real quick. Paychecks are in. There's only a few, but if you are one of those, you can pick it up today until 2, and then Monday from 10 to 12. After that, we'll be mailing them out to the individuals. I think Louise said it a couple of times, and I'm just going to say it for a third time, and hopefully it gets reminded to everyone remembers to do this, and that is to sign in and sign out. If you guys read that email that came out yesterday, that was important. There were 2 critical pieces of details in each of those situations, and that's kind of what the sign in, sign out helps us do. The one thing that we've all been asked to do is personally is keep a diary of where we're going. So you really should be doing that for yourself. But this is a way for the campus to keep a diary and a log of who's coming in, who's going in the event, you know, we get a visit from someone who is infected. But that's about it. Everyone have a good weekend. Be healthy. Thank you.
Okay. Vice Chancellor Noel?
I just kind of wanted to remind everybody during this crazy time that registration for summer and fall starts again on Monday. So basically, as we know, summer is all online. Fall will still have face-to-face. Hopefully these things will improve. And then we can kind of continue as normal for fall. But if you guys have any questions about registration, or you have some students who have trouble registering, have them email the CAPVCSA at hawaii.edu account, and you can get them situated from there. There's probably some other stuff I wanted to add, but I forgot, so I'll jump on later once I remember.
Okay. Let's just do a couple of questions that relate to what Brian said. Brian, there's a question from Lavishay. Is there a question on the sign out that could be added in the event that we forgot to sign in to put the time?
So first, a huge shout out to Joy and Helen. Joy and Helen were the masterminds behind creating this in like an afternoon. And so I will talk with them, Lavishay, and I'll find out. That's a good point, because even I forget some mornings to sign in. And it would be nice to have that in there. So let me double check with them. I don't know if it's that difficult.
Okay. There was a question about turning off the printers. So maybe Carl, this would be a good time for you to jump in.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, information security threat vectors are on the rise For those devices that you think you may have left on, you're not quite sure, you're welcome to send me an email. South staff have already been going around the campus into the various buildings and offices looking for devices left on. And so far, I think we've been able to turn off close to 100, 150 devices that we found left on. Again, please keep in mind that if you do come on campus and you need to use your computer, the printer, fine, just turn it on. I just ask that before you leave for the day, you turn it off. It's just that the threat vectors are on the rise. Our firewalls are seeing systematic attacks looking for devices being left on. We're in the process of trying to spin up a new firewall so that our defenses can be a little bit more robust. But that's going to take a little while to get up. So we will be doing periodic sweeps through the campus looking for devices. So if you do have a device you think you left on, no, you do not have to come on campus. Send me an email and we'll go take a specific look at it. In terms of Zoom, yeah, you probably hear in the news a lot about Zoom vulnerabilities, Zoom bombing. I'm assuming everybody knows about Zoom bombing now. Zoom has put into practice new protocols that will help prevent this type of attack or intrusion. Zoom has also been identified to have couple of vulnerabilities in Mac operating systems. Basically, your computer, your Apple computer had to have already been compromised for those vulnerabilities to be taken advantage of. There were a couple for Windows. Zoom has been doing an excellent job in terms of beefing up, upgrading, putting up patches for their product. They've been very responsive, and we in the information security community greatly appreciate that. As a whole, when working from home, if you can separate your work device from your home device, that's the best strategy. Mixing home and work can pose a risk simply because if you're dealing with files with sensitive information, it's going to be harder later on to extract those files off your home computer. If that cannot be avoided, I suggest if you can set up a separate account so that you'll use a specific account when doing work and the rest of your family can use another account. If you want to come back on campus, take your desktop home, I am very, very open to that. I just ask that you follow the protocol of signing in, send me an email ahead of time. We can prep your machine so that when you go home, it'll be much easier for you to connect to your local service provider.
Carl, did you happen to keep a track of which computers you turned off? There's a question from Hal about notifying people if it's already been turned off so they don't make the trip to campus. I cannot imagine if there's 100, 150 that you made a list.
Oh, yeah, we do have a list, but we're not always sure who uses what space, who's assigned to what space. I think it'd be easier that if you do have a concern, you just send me an email. I don't mind getting a whole bunch of emails coming in. I can sort them out and put them off to the side and forward them off to the South staff. But rest assured that we did go through every building and we turned off everything we could find that was on and not being actively used.
Okay, thanks, Carl. Maria?
Oh, sorry. Before Maria jumped on, I
You remembered.
All right. So basically, registration is on Monday again. For anybody from the counselors to department chairs to instructors who are helping students register and they are running into errors for registration, please remember there's a link that you can report that error in. I also put it in the chat drive, in the chat box, and I think it's being forwarded through everybody else. But it helps to kind of keep track of the errors so that Susan and Jerry can fix it on their end, so that no other students are running into those issues. So try to see if we can kind of keep track of that. The other thing I wanted to point out was the Urgent Student Relief Fund. We have received 153 applications And basically, we are still trying to narrow it down to see if we can make the awards by Monday. More than likely, we're not going to spend that total $59,000 that was allotted for the college. There is a second round of applications. So basically, students who didn't meet that Wednesday 4:30 deadline, they're being putting into that second pool. So we'll continuously to award students through this next round through the following Wednesday. I know some other funds was put out. I think there's a Ho'ola. I'm not too sure which one it was, but that one just went out, and it also, we're just notified that it closed down as well because they had too much applications. So for students who are still found in these kind of hard times and situations, they can still apply to these funds. Just to give you an idea of just some things that we're looking at, the committee is trying to stay with regard to some things like emergencies, so like food, resources, and whatnot. A lot of students are asking about rent and electricity and all of those things, and we're trying to provide additional resources where it points out to, I think the electricity won't be turned off until a certain date in May. There shouldn't be any evictions, but we're trying to, in addition to providing students funds or rejections of their requests, we're trying to give them additional resources so they can find something that would help them. Because as you can imagine, for that 153 apps, if we just awarded every single student without looking at their rationale, it would have cost about $115,000, something that we didn't have in the UH Foundation's account. But keep having your students submit applications because it is still open.
Okay, sorry, Angela's put the link for the Ho'ala Assistance Program, which is also closed. Okay, Maria.
Okay, registration, as Noyao has just stated, is going to be on Monday. So that would be for summer and for fall. So you will see that if you look at the schedule for fall, it will be a combination of face-to-face and online classes or remote learning. Yeah, Jamie, I got that right. So anyway, so anyway, but I asked the chairs to put as many online classes as possible because we do not really know what is going to happen for fall. And for the face-to-face classes, we're putting a disclaimer that this class might go online, depending on what the situation is come August. Another thing that I'd like to say is Star Balance is a way for which it's now open for faculty to use, and I emailed your chairs about this. You can use it to do office hours with your students. The students will see it in their Star, and they can set up an appointment with you. You can put in your office hours in that too, so that they schedule within your office hours. And it's now open for spring, but I need to turn in the names of who want to participate for the spring semester. But talk is now going on, or discussions are going on for summer, that in summer, all faculty member who's going to be teaching summer school will be put in to be able to use Star Balance for their office hours, but that is still under discussion.
And that's just to book the office hours?
Yes. And then, so when they book their, if the student requests for an office hour, and I think a Zoom meeting is generated.
Oh, okay. One step.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else, Maria?
Okay, I remember that in the previous Zoom meeting, questions were asked about placement exams. So I asked the VCAAs about, what they are, discussions about EdReady, still up there. Questions about, using placement exams like was taken 2 years ago, I think Cheryl was the one who asked that question. It's been forwarded to the cognitive something committee to discuss. So I have not received any response to that yet. That's
okay,
it.
but you guys are talking.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Down to the deans and Carol.
Yes, I just wanted to remind people that there is going to be a meeting today of the directors and deans for continuing education, talking about how to get all of the classes online, and also how we are going to respond to what we believe is going to be a big request for workforce development for people who are now unemployed and possibly looking for other careers to get into. I also wanted to share that the marketing and communication people for continuing education have been collaborating together, and they have been putting very, very helpful information out about all of the various different governmental resources and other information that people need to know, whether they be community members or businesses in this difficult time, about resources that would be helpful to them. And they're going to continue to do this on a weekly basis. They're sending it out through the various different listservs that they have. And it's a community service is what it is.
Thanks, Carol. There are a couple of questions. Let's take them now. If summer session will be charged at regular rate, no, I've not been informed that we're going to be changing summer session. No official word has come. I'm sure they're having all kinds of conversations, but right now there is no definitive statement about summer session unless I missed something. No, Ayal, you know anything?
Not that I heard anything on my side, but from my understanding, summer is still going to be the same price.
Maria, you hear anything?
There has been no discussion on that one.
Okay. Extensions of exceptions for F1, VA, or other students who may be impacted if their F2F courses changes to online.
I can kind of address that one.
Okay.
So that one, so the questions is about changes to F1 visas or VA benefits, how it's impacted in the fall semester. Basically, with those two situations, and Sean or Terry, if you guys are on, if you guys want to jump in, we're kind of making those decisions, and the organizations are making decisions as we kind of get closer to that date. Same thing that happened during this semester, where we have to kind of write a request for the exceptions or for the exceptions for the F1 visa students. I imagine we would follow that same process. Same thing for the VA students. I think they're looking at the trend of what this will look like, and then hopefully, I mean, let's say hopefully everything improves, but if it is the same, I assume they would make the same changes for those things. But as of right now, we don't know. We just gotta kind of wait and see what happens with the current situation.
Oh, yeah, we'll keep you there for this next question from Hal about what can we do to help the students who are going through such anxiety right now, stress.
Yeah, so I think I did speak with Cindy on this one, and basically the best way is to kind of share information and see if you can get connected with the students. We do have that online student resource in the COVID-19 page, which I'll try and get to and put the link in the chat box. But basically it lists a whole bunch of resources other than Cindy that students can also be referred to, or just some general coping strategies in this current time. So that would probably be the best resource in addition to referring to Cindy.
Thanks, Noah. Okay, Nava'a? Anything for peeps?
No, just that we're working with HR. HR is working with us, one of those, on the best way for us to start moving paperwork through, especially Form 20s for summer school. And that's probably, some of my paperwork's piling up and I don't know how to move it through to HR. So that's one of the big challenges I'm having. But no, thank God it's Friday. Good work, everybody. Yeah, have a great weekend.
Okay, Lisa?
I'd just like to reiterate what you and Brian had said earlier, that it's really important that we log in and out, and I, the same as everyone else, have a hard time remembering that. But I just want us to be realistic and understanding that it's not if we have any of our Ohana and the CAPCC family that will be, it's a matter of when it will happen. So we need to be prepared for that, both emotionally and with our processes. And I will be sharing information when I have a little more. I'm supposed to be getting a document. There's an ad hoc group that's kind of been put together for working for health workforce support during the crisis. And so there is a volunteer page through the state that's through the Medical Reserve Corps. But I have a document that's coming to me that'll have some FAQs and things like that. This is obviously totally separate from your work expectations and requirements here. But if you feel that you really need to do something to help in some way, there is room for volunteers. And what they have said is that volunteers will not be placed kind of in the front lines. They'll be doing support work from where they can. You don't have to have a healthcare background. There's lots of different things that people can do to help and support. So as soon as I get that document, I'll be sure and share it with everyone.
Thanks. Thank you, Lisa. John?
You know, as I reflect back over the last 3.5 weeks, I'm just really taken by how remarkable we are and how powerful we are and how amazing we are and can be. And I'm really humbled and honored to work with all of you, my colleagues. Thank you all.
Thanks, John. We do need to celebrate the successes, and there are some successes to report. When we get the information back from OFI, you will see the fruits of the efforts to improve course success rates and to improve fall to spring re-enrollment rates. We did improve. So that will be shared with you very soon. And so thank you all for all the work that you did to make that happen. Okay, let's see.
Sorry, Louise, one more thing.
Oh, no,
and this is mainly just, I mean, for our employees, I realize in our current situation, a lot of us are working from home and our kids are home who are not in DOE schools. So also in that website that Jamie Sickle put down, if you go to page 13, and thank you, Christy Montero, for putting this together, there's a lot of resources for those who have our kids at home and need to somehow keep them either learning through a lot of enrichment activities or just some stuff to do, just because there's so many things that we try to keep them busy with, and it just becomes a huge burden on us. So there's a lot of resources in terms of online things that we can have our children do while also working from home, that is also trying to keep that consistency of their educational enrichment. So again, the student resources is meant for students, but there's a lot of things in there that our employees can also use. But yeah, just kind of wanted to recognize that because it's tough working from home with the kids right now.
Thank you. There's a question from Dana about a student tells me that they suspect they have COVID-19 or they have documentation that they are positive. If they have documentation that they are positive, whoever performed the test or whoever required the test or the physician will make that report to the Department of Health. What we need to do is get a copy of that documentation. Just, phone, take a picture with your phone, student sends it to you, and then you let me know. That's your responsibility. You do not need to report to the Department of Health. The medical people will do that, but I need to know so that I can get all the other system resources to work on that. Hope that answers Dana. Then Terry puts in something about the VA. And I've also reported. Maria's asked for some documents for accreditation site visit on Monday. How will that visit take place? Yes, we are visiting virtually with 3 individuals, all of whom were part of the team that came to visit in October 2018. So it's Will Llewellyn, Catherine Webb, and Ginny May. The interviews have been set up. It's just a one-day visit, and it will all be done by Zoom. The people who are scheduled for interviews have been informed, and they've gone through sort of an orientation with Joanne and some of the folks from the work group. Thank you so very much, all of you, for putting those meetings together, putting the summaries and the cheat sheet questions together, and for contributing your thoughts. It will take place on Monday. It will begin at 7:30, and it will end at 2:30. Okay, let's let's see. Okay, am I missing anything? Guy Kellogg had some resources to share too. Other questions? Anybody else have things they'd like to say?
Louise, it's
Yes,
Candy.
Candy.
I have my hand up.
I'm sorry.
No,
I can't
know.
scroll through
It's
162 people.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to tell you, if you didn't know, I know the faculty know, but I put out a Google Doc because Don Straney asked for the faculty to be consulted about the grading changes. So that is actually due today at 4 o'clock, and I sent a reminder and a link in the chat. Faculty, I will also send your previous comments. I sent those to Louise before, but that way he'll have, you know, a good pool of people and feedback. I didn't go with a vote of yes or no because I think this is probably going to happen one way or another. But what it is that we really need to tell them, hey, here's the potential problem with this, or this is just all great, or whatever feedback we can give at this point. And then plus, you know, we won't have Senate until Monday. And then the other request that I have is the email that you sent regarding Zoom, Louise, I forwarded that to the arts and sciences because that's who was having the conversation. I'm wondering if we could have, it's kind of a convoluted email that you have to kind of dig through to get some of the answers. I'm wondering if we might, I don't mind cut and pasting what's important and sending it out to the senators to send to faculty. But I was thinking maybe that's not something I should be doing, maybe Carl or you know, somebody from ITS or what have you.
Carl, do you know if there's a document already done up?
I'm sorry, what document is this?
This is just an email thread with Garrett Yoshimi and some folks from ITS talking about Zoom and what they've done to it. Do we have something that's succinct somewhere, or should we piece it together from this back and forth email?
I'll go see what I can find and forward it on to the CAC list.
Okay.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Jerry has something. I think the 5/29 student deadline has been changed to Friday, 5/22. Oh, that was for the option to change grade. So they've changed. Okay. I'm not sure that makes a difference to faculty feedback, though. What do you think, Candy?
I guess I didn't even unmute, but I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
You muted yourself. You couldn't hear. No, I think in the original Straney memo, the last day to opt for credit, no credit was May 29, and Jerry's saying it's been changed to May 22nd.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the outcome will be because I'm not sure if there'll be other changes from feedback, right?
Yeah, and I was thinking, I don't know that the change of date makes all that difference to what the faculty might be concerned about, but I don't know that.
Well, it might be because I know a lot of faculty seem to be concerned that students may need to consult with their counselors before they make such determinations. So that might be something to think about as well. So I think that the feedback is it's just critical because it's coming from all campuses, and I have no idea how long it will take for them to make a final decision on that. But thank you all for providing that.
Okay, does anybody else have their hand up that I'm not seeing?
From this is Maria.
Yes.
From the discussion yesterday, Don's training is just waiting for the feedback from all the faculty senates. And then I think from that, he's gonna be writing the memo and sending it out. I think, I mean, from the conversations, it seems like Manoa is the one who's asking for the students to make the choice first before they see the grade. And they're the only ones. But I think the decision is going to be done after he receives all the feedback later today.
Yeah, I'm sure. Ben's asking if we're going to meet on Good Friday. Good question, Ben. I hadn't thought about it. Maybe not, unless something really crucial happens between Wednesday and Thursday, or just on Thursday. I don't imagine, but we'll make sure we send a note out whether we're going to have a campus-wide Zoom on Friday. So just to let you know, Rachel Salemsas, who's the Chancellor at Hawaii CC, is trying her first campus-wide Zoom today. She heard that what we're doing, and she's going to try it for today. So it's going viral. Oh, Jamie's doing an infomercial. Yes. I have a 2:30. More Zoom meetings than I've ever had in my whole life in just this 1 week. Other announcements for the good of the order from 162 people?
I have one more comment.
Sure.
Being that registration opens on Monday, in the event anybody hears of challenges that students are having, can you just send me those comments and we'll try to work with Noel to see how we can figure it out. I know that one possible issue is what all the comments mean on check class availability. But apparently students usually don't go to check class availability, they go right to STAR. So some of us have registered as students so we can go in and see what they're actually seeing. But just in case you get some comments, or you can even go and look at what we have up right now on check class availability. But I think trying to best communicate to students and not having too much there is a good thing. Yeah, that's it.
Louise, this is Joanne.
Yep.
I just wanted to let everybody know that if you can't make these online Zoom things in person, we do type out the notes, and the video will be also available, and you can have it, it'll be posted on the news bulletin as well as on the COVID page.
Thanks, Joanne. I was supposed to remember that, and I didn't. Thank you.
Oh, hi, Louise.
Hi, Alfred.
Yes, I have a question because it's not clear to us as educators how to prioritize things or help prioritize things for our students. It's clear that health, family, and pure survival is extremely important. How do we fit that in with the idea that we want to get them through the classes? Because sometimes it's kind of conflicting. I'm trying to say, do everything up front, but remember you signed up for this class and I'm going to help you make it through. But I don't want to throw in the towel by saying just concentrate on just pure survival. What's the thought of the administration on this?
I don't know that the administration has the corner on compassion, Alfred. I think that making sure that the students know where you are and that you care about them and their mental health. There have been all kinds of discussions in the chat box just today about how do we help our students. So I think that those are the kinds of things you might want to make use of. So the COVID-19 website, if you look on the students' resources, I think you'll be able to see some of those things. But again, I think we are trying to do 2 things, maybe 5 things at the same time with our students, which is number 1, support them. This is very stressful. They may be living in a household where everybody's lost their job. and they're feeling that terrible stress, which is another reason why we're really trying hard to make sure that our student employees continue to be working in some creative way so that at least their compensation continues. Their families are struggling. Many of our folks have jobs that probably were just evaporated because of everybody shutting down. So we understand that they have those stresses, and I think acknowledging those stresses and reaching out to them and saying, you know, how can I help you be okay? I think those are really, really important. And you know, if it does require an incomplete for your class because it just can't get to those last assignments, then I think you have to put that out there for students and allow them to make it up. You got to be a little bit careful because I know you can't teach the incomplete. It just got to be the last assignments that can't get put in. But take a look at what's all being said right now in the chat box about Cindy's offering to drop in on your class to say to folks how they're doing, resources for counselors and student support folks. So those are the people that I think can help instructional faculty best manage the conversations with their students. And I appreciate your concern, Alfred, and I know you care, and so many students are in classes with the faculty who do really care. And so thank you for bringing that question up and seeing all the resources that are being submitted on the chat box. Is that going to help you, Alfred?
Yes, it'll help me tremendously. Basically, for the student, I want them to care about their health, number one, their family.
Yes.
But I hope things are finalized concerning the drop date or changing of grade and so forth. Because once that's finalized, then I can give the final thing to my students. You know, things may happen, but we're on your side. So these are the options. Right now, there's very few options I can give them other than extending time. What can I do? Where best can I assist you?
Yes.
The more we have, you know, it's going to help tremendously.
Right. So make sure that, you know, you point them to those resources that are online for them.
Oh, it's being pointed.
Okay. They want to hear it from you, Alfred. That's why.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Other questions? Good lunch, yeah? With your Cengage cup. Sorry, I still see you. Yes. Anyone else? Resources for placement tests. What kind of resources, Guy?
Thank you, Louise. I hope it's not too specific a question for this larger audience. I was just curious about placement tests for students transitioning in May from the intensive program into regular classes. We're okay with the English. We can manage that ourselves, but they will need to take a math placement test in order to have access to math classes.
Maria, can you answer?
That is the question that I fielded the Vice Chancellors for Academic Affairs. I know that our math faculty are developing a homegrown exam that they can give the students, but there are some things that, you know, because it's homegrown, there's a lot of questions about it. So that has been passed on to Josh to Josh to discuss with the cognitive group. So it's something that they've been looking at and looking into. And I know that Josh has been meeting with co-rec math group. So that has been on a discussion that they've been having for quite some time now. But I do not know what the decision is at this point. But they're still working on it.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. I posted the testing center webpage on the chat list. Once there is a solution, could it be posted there as well? We use that as a resource for students.
Will do.
Mahalo.
Nice to see Pooh. The picture, not Pooh, real Pooh. That's not nice.
Thank you.
Anybody else have things to say? Thanks, Lisa. We got lots of music to listen to, lots of parodies too. Thank you. I'm sure you're getting those kind of URLs about like the Berkeley School of Music doing Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah with 10,000 people on the screen. There's multiple people doing those kinds of things. So yeah, it's great. Music is very important. Okay, Angeles has shared something, April 13th. Strategies to maintain motivation and wellness during unprecedented times. So Alfred, you could share that with your students too, and any other faculty member who has concerns about her or his students. Check the bulletin. Okay. Last call. Anyone? Okay, hearing none, I wish you all a restful weekend. Take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, stay safe, wash your hands, don't touch your eyes, don't touch your nose, don't touch your mouth, and be mindful of your environment, keep track of where you're going. Take care of yourselves, you guys. You're the best. See you Wednesday.